Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to start with the topic of ships. The number of major U.S. shipyards has gone from 27 to 8, and today we currently don't sell any American ships to China. But China's shipbuilding industry has skyrocketed. In 2002, as this chart shows, China controlled 8% of the global shipbuilding market. Today, they control 51%, more than the rest of the world combined. The growth came from the CCP strategy to dominate global shipbuilding by excluding foreign ships from its market while giving its own state-controlled shipbuilders massive grants and guaranteed funding. In fact, Mr. Paul, its largest shipbuilder is, guess what? The China State Shipbuilding Corporation, and which it gets billions in equity infusions from the CCP, but regularly operates at a loss, correct?
That is indeed correct.
State-owned shipbuilders are also building ships for China's military. As you can see here, over 2 decades, China's Navy almost doubled in size, from roughly 180 ships to roughly 360 ships today, while America's Navy is flatlined. The gap between our number of ships and theirs is widening dramatically. This committee has repeatedly talked about the importance of deterrence for preventing conflict. But gaps like this between the Chinese Navy and the American Navy don't exactly deter Xi Jinping from starting a conflict potentially over Taiwan or the South China Sea. So, Mr. Paul, if we don't reinvigorate our shipbuilding industry, this gap is very hard to narrow and potentially invites aggression, correct?
It certainly does. We have 4 operating military naval shipyards right now, just in addition to the commercial shipyards. So our capacity has been extraordinarily diminished, and it presents us with a clear and present risk.
And the Chinese know that. And so this is inviting aggression. We've got to change this for, if any other reason, national security purposes. Let me turn to the topic of chips. If ships are the backbone of global sea power, chips are the backbone of modern life. Chips are so important to our competition, and the competition is so intense that Mr. Miller wrote this book called Chip War. Now, to win this war, among other things, China wants to A, become the world's dominant producer of foundational or legacy chips, and B, drive American chip makers out of its market for those same legacy chips. Now, I have another chart here. As you can see, the CCP is poised to double its capacity by 2030, between now and 2030, to produce these legacy chips. Mr. Miller, if the PRC succeeds, these chips will absolutely flood our market, right?
These chips will certainly arrive in large scale in American markets.
It's the exact same as the chairman alluded to, playbook that we saw decimate our ship and steel industries. One tool to stop this surge of legacy chips is something called Section 421. It's a trade tool that allows us to impose targeted, quicker countermeasures against CCP market disruptions. But unfortunately, it expired in 2013. Now, Mr. Paul, I believe it's time to revive and modernize Section 421. What do you think?
I couldn't agree more. It's one of our recommendations. It would be a smart move by the Congress.
Well, Mr. Chair, I think we should usher this particular safeguard through Congress in this and future Congresses as well. Finally, I want to shift to the topic of drones. American companies don't really sell drones to China. On the other hand, Chinese companies dominate our market. One Chinese company, DJI, accounts for 90% of the U.S. consumer market for drones. DJI dominates our market because they're cheap, thanks to massive backing from the CCP, including equity investments from government-controlled funds. Just to be clear, the government invests in Chinese drone companies. Here's one we found on a popular website today for 300 bucks, okay? Mr. Bree, I actually brought one of your drones today. This is the Skydio 2 Plus. I'm sure that you recognize this. Unfortunately, this sells for over $1,000 for consumers. Now, Mr. Bree, this $1,000 is quite a bit more than the 300 bucks that you can buy a DJI drone for, right?
That's correct, sir, yes.
Now, today, I guess it's no surprise that Skydio pulled out of the U.S. consumer market last year. But across all three sectors, Mr. Chair, the CCP plan is very much the same. They deny access to our markets, and then they flood our markets. I'm sorry, they deny their market to our companies, and then they flood our market with their products, cheaply produced, cheaply made, and heavily subsidized by the CCP. We got to take action on this. I yield back.